Hey guys, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing okay. I'm going to give you a very thorough overview of the article here. I'm going to read through a couple of paragraphs in particular. There's a link in the description. I find this quite an interesting topic. Perhaps you will too. If you do appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the video if you have friends and family that like this type of topic, true crime, that type of thing. Then yeah, if you're able to introduce them to myself, to the channel, that would be great. I'll take good care of them, I promise. So the headline tells us that a Florida school employee, so a mental health counselor, not a teacher, a mental health counselor, has pressed formal charges against a 10-year-old boy who she says groped her, literally cupped her breast during a hug, a 10-year-old boy. The guardian of the 10-year-old boy, the grandmother, claims that he didn't do anything wrong. He sat down, he carried on talking with his friends about something completely unrelated, football. Nobody made a fuss other than the mental health counselor who grabbed the 10-year-old boy's wrist to remove his hand from, allegedly from her breast. If I understand correctly, there was a teacher within the class at the time. They didn't see the incident. Nobody else has confirmed the incident. Seemingly, it's a matter of this mental health counselor saying one thing and the boy saying another. Who knows what the actual truth is? Who knows what the actual intentions were? Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a parent. I don't know too much about 10-year-old boys. I once was a 10-year-old boy, but it was quite some time ago. And not all 10-year-old boys are the same, granted. But I think it would be pretty unlikely. I mean, not impossible, but pretty unlikely that a 10-year-old boy would attempt to sexually abuse anybody. I mean, but, having said that, I've got to retract that because I know of certain cases where people of that age do perform or have performed sexual assault, So it is a bit hard to be 100% on what actually went down. But my go-to would be, hey, look, even if the boy did touch the breast, right? I mean, where's that come from? I mean, what are the intentions? I mean, maybe it's he doesn't realize that that's an inappropriate thing to do. He's only 10. Maybe he doesn't realize that. Maybe within his family, that's kind of normal, Maybe he, his hands go where his hands go for non-sexual reasons when he's in close contacts with his female family members, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I doubt it was to get a sexual rise from the situation, but we don't know 100%. Anyhow, we'll read through the details a little bit closer. A Florida elementary school's mental health counselor has pressed charges against a 10-year-old boy who she said groped her rather. This happened at Holly Hill School in Volusia County, Florida, and the mental health counselor has made a formal report to the police department. The boy was given a 10-day suspension. He's due back at school at the beginning of this week. His grandmother, Lakeisha Hollins, who is the legal guardian, said that the 10-year-old boy did nothing wrong. The grandmother says that she didn't agree with the decision to suspend the 10-year-old boy, her grandson, and she doesn't agree with the counselor's decision to press charges. Here's a quote from the grandmother of the 10-year-old boy. We're talking about a 10-year-old being kicked out of school for what possibly could have been an accident. Could have been an accident. It was a hug. Here's a description of how the hug actually took place. The counselor turned sideways to give a side hug. So the counselor initiated a hug, apparently. The student, the 10-year-old, put his left arm around her shoulder, and then with his right hand, he reached and grabbed her left breast, in which she had to grab his wrist and remove his hand. Grabbed her left breast. I mean, what's meant by grabbed? What's meant by grabbed? I mean, that means like forgive me, a bit of a squeeze or something, isn't it? Grabbed, not placed. I don't know. The police report states that the student allegedly cupped her left breast in a disrespectful way. Really? I mean, I don't know. It's too vague. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't clarify. Maybe it would be inappropriate to clarify that. But again, I can't imagine a 10-year-old boy doing this for either his own pleasure or to show off in front of his friends. I think that would just be so ridiculous for that to occur. Not necessarily impossible, but pretty ridiculous. I would wonder what the boy's previous history is within the school, if he's been in trouble for various other things, perhaps. Well, I would think, rightfully or wrongfully, I would think that would be indicative of his behavior in this case, his previous behavior. I mean, if he's generally a well-behaved boy, then I would give him the benefit of the doubt in this situation. That's how I would likely handle things. But if he was a troubled boy in one way or another, if he had a history of doing inappropriate things or violent things, sexual things, then okay, that would give more credence to the situation. But in any case, the counsellor claims that she had to forcibly remove his hand. It had grabbed her left breast. He was cupping her left breast in a disrespectful way. Apparently, the counsellor was looking away and possibly talking to somebody else during the hug, so she wasn't paying attention. And the grandmother says that my grandson said with the hug, she grabbed his hand and held his hand up, and he didn't really know why she did it. He said she let his hand go, and then he walked back to his seat, and then he began to talk to other students. They were talking about football. Nobody witnessed the hug, or certainly the primary teacher in the classroom didn't witness the hug. So I don't know, man. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to the boy, frankly. That's where I'm coming from. Look, number one, maybe this didn't happen at all, I remember, at school, perhaps I shouldn't say this, but, I was at school, and I wouldn't say I was in a fight with a girl, but, we were just talking, and I said something which apparently annoyed her, which gave her the right to punch me or something. So I just put my hand up to block, and in so doing, I accidentally brushed her breast. She decided to make a fuss about that. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, I don't know. Ladies have boobs, and if you're gonna hug somebody, then touching can occur. It's not necessarily a sexual thing. It's not necessarily done on purpose. It might well not have occurred. It might well have been an accident. It seems to me that she could be overreacting. If she really felt this way to the point that she had to grab his wrist, which he acknowledges, and he says he didn't know why that was happening, then why didn't she immediately send the boy to the principal's office? Why didn't she immediately say, well, hey, look, I'm a counsellor. Look, Sonny Jim, you need some counselling. Not with me, but I'm going to arrange something with a colleague, because you, Sonny Jim, are a troubled young man. Why didn't she say that? Why didn't she act on it straight away? Why did she let him sit back down with his friends so he can chat about whatever else, which wasn't about, bro, why did you just touch the counsellor's tit? It wasn't about that. They were talking about football, apparently. No witnesses. The primary teacher was in the room, in the classroom. She didn't see anything. Or if she did, she's not saying anything. I mean, maybe she saw something which could have been a boy's hand on the lady's body during the hug. But I mean, why are we? I don't know. It just seems to me that it is he said, she said, and this is a 10-year-old boy. Why do the police need to be involved? Why does the police need to be involved? I mean, this is a counsellor. Isn't the counsellor supposed to be there to offer counselling, to be more supportive and encouraging of counselling? Why is the counsellor going, you know what, fuck counselling, let's give this child a police record at the age of 10, or expose this child to the judiciary system at the age of 10. Let's brandish this 10-year-old a sexual abuser, so that they've got the rest of their childhood as well as their adulthood to experience this reputation of being a sexual abuser. It's not good, is it? Why couldn't they, even if this did happen, why couldn't the mental health counsellor have handled this in a much better way, a way which would have given counselling to the boy, a way which would have instructed him on what he did wrong? I mean, from what the article says, from what the grandmother says, and of course that's not necessarily the truth, but the grandmother's saying that the boy didn't understand why his hand was being held up. He didn't know what he did wrong, so why didn't you tell him? Anyway, so look, there's this article here. I thought this was a little bit interesting, a little bit different to many of the other articles that I've gone through, but a bit of a talking point perhaps. Those are my thoughts. Perhaps your thoughts are completely different. Maybe you think I've completely missed the boat on this one. In which case, please do drop a comment. More than happy to have a robust conversation with yourself in regards to this. Going to be doing some live streams probably tomorrow. So stick around, hit the notification bell, and take care.